on a very smooth Tuesday. Welcome to Traxx Radio. Tonight's on the spotlight, gifted singer, songwriter. He does it all, but he's known for being electrifying. Keyboardist, the legendary Prince in the Revolution, Dr. Fink. Brother, how are you doing this evening?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us this evening.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
I got to ask you, first and foremost, how have you been doing? These last couple of years have been something, I would have to say, different and unique as far as from an emotional standpoint. So how have you been doing?
Boy. Well, you have to try to keep the sense of humor as best you can during all this. I don't know if I succeeded at times, though. But now that I feel things are hopefully on the upswing, I mean, I feel like things are improving. Let's hope. But it's an interesting time, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Not too long ago, I had the pleasure of having Brown Mark on the show, and we were talking, and he pretty much gave me this kind of vibe that you gave me right now. It's been something else. Everything is taking. Go right ahead.
It has disrupted the lives of millions of people that just went on in the last couple of years, especially the entertainment business. So we're all coming out of it kind of like going, okay, we got to get our our sea legs again, as they say,
Right.
So it's just really it hasn't been. It's been a creative time, though, because a lot of people were introspective and writing music, and artists are writing music, and they're putting their music out and that they did during COVID. And then, some people weren't creative. I know some people that just sort of took it easy,
You bring something very interesting, and I want to talk to you about the creative process of making music. Starting going back to the golden age of music, late 70s, going all the way up to the 80s. How do you see music progress as far as songwriting? Do you think it has gone in a positive manner, or do you think it's declined?
I think it's always progressing in a positive way. I hear music nowadays that's just amazing. I mean, I can't believe some of the young artists I've been hearing lately. It's just, they're virtuoso, prodigious prodigies that are just like, wow, you're how old and when did you start playing and how did you get to that level of proficiency? I'm absolutely astounded what I've been seeing lately, really, for the last several years. I mean, there's just this new generation of artists and kids. It's almost like I really think they're channeling the higher power. It's all being put out here for us, and it's just beautiful. And we need to listen to these young people, because it brings peace and hope to the world as well, and that's what we need right now.
Right.
All these young budding artists are just amazing.
Without question. Some of the interviews that I've seen that you've done over the years.
Say that again?
I listened to you do a lot of retrospect.
Oh, yes.
And do you ever realize the important part that you played collectively on touching so many people's lives?
I do understand that. I tend to forget about it at times because I'm into my cocoon here in Minneapolis. I do. Right. I've been raising a family, although my kids are grown up now and out of the house. So officially last year, my last son I'm an empty nester now. But What was the question again?
No, I was saying, do a lot of times you ever just kind of sit back and just realize?
Oh, yes, I do. And like I said, I forget. That's what I meant to say. I get so busy with work, I forget about it. And then people like you come along and remind me of the influence we had during our time with Prince and the Revolution. You know,
you touched so many lives. And like I said, I've had an opportunity to see you perform. I've lost track. I'm going all the way back to the early 80s, to the Sign of the Times, and also in Japan. So you guys did something so magical that to me is something that cannot ever be replaced. And you left such an indelible imprint on this industry, and I don't think it's something like that could ever be replaced.
Yeah, everybody has their imprint on this planet. You know, Prince was a special human being. He was like a 1 in a bajillion human being from a talent standpoint, and his loss was greatly felt by everyone, as you know. And as I just said before, there's some of these new kids I'm hearing are like him. They're like him. That's what's blowing me away. It's like, oh my God, they're almost like another incarnation of that talent coming out.
Right.
So that's what I mean. It carries on. It comes through in the next generation. And
do you still have? I was going to ask you something. Just so many questions I know the listeners would like to know. Do you still have the same kind of passion for music that you had, let's say, 20 years ago?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, I love to listen to new music. I like playing on and collaborating with people these days, which I've been doing quite a bit of here in the studio. And I do a lot of long distance session work because of COVID.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, here I am in my home studio. I'm so lucky and grateful to be able to do this because of working with Prince. You know,
right.
For him, I wouldn't be doing this either, because he was the leader of something amazing. You know, he really was.
Well, you were definitely amazing. And I mean, you and the keyboards are second to none. You are incredible. What are you currently working on right now? Or better yet, is there anyone in particular, a particular artist that you would like to work with?
Sure, I'll work with just about anybody that wants to try to work with me. You know, I can't work with everybody, but anybody that's, you know, interested, I'll look at it, you know.
I don't know, sometimes I'm a little bit jaded because I seen that a lot of these artists in today's industry really don't take the time to perfect their craft, and they get into it for the glamour and glitz, and they really truly don't understand what it takes to be a complete artist.
Yeah, well, there's several out there though that are at the top of their craft. I think that are currently out there. Quite a few, obviously, but yeah, it's you know, it's interesting. The Michael Jacksons and the Princes and the this and the that and the Beatles, you know, and all these people that came before that were iconic and just massively huge. I think you have some of those people out here still. You know, you have very popular artists that write great songs.
What about the business side of the industry? How important is it to own your masters and have the level of creativity, being able to control your own music?
Well, that's where things have changed so much because of the internet. Any artist can be independent now, you know, but we all know that you know, takes capital also to promote yourself. So nowadays, record labels have changed a great deal. They will hopefully spend a little money on your promotion, but I don't know, you know, unless you're the really upper echelon artists signed to the major labels, you won't see a lot of budgets for recording your next album. You know, back in the day, you would go into debt for several $100,000 to do your projects. And, you know, in the 1980s, the label would invest that kind of money in you, and or more, and give you tour support. And if you were a new artist, newly signed, they'd actually help you with a budget to buy equipment, all kinds of things, money for rehearsal time with the band.
Right.
And granted, back in those days, it wasn't a ton of money, but it still put the artist into debt for, you know, a few $100,000 or more dollars trying to do that. And then you have to earn that back. It's like taking a loan out of the record company bank, and then you have to hopefully perform, and they're gambling on you and doing all that, you know.
It's interesting that you say that, because a lot of young artists don't understand that this is a business.
Yeah.
And that when the label invests money into you, it's just like a bank. They're looking to recoup that money back.
That's correct.
You know, and it's just wild. And that's one of the things I was so impressed. One of the things I was so impressed with Prince, because he had such a keen business sense that he understood, and he seen the direction of the music industry and where it was going.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate that, you know, that the whole Napster thing happened back in the early 2000s, and that really dampened things in the industry for quite some time. It seems to be getting back on its feet, but it's still, you know, difficult.
Do you ever miss traveling?
Do I miss
being
traveling?
able to tour? Yeah, tour all over the world. I mean, you pretty much have been everywhere performing.
Well,
do you ever miss it?
You know what? With Prince, it was you know, we did a lot of U.S. tours when I was with him. I think I did about 11, maybe, or more. I can't remember. And then the European was less, because he didn't go to Europe as much. Maybe 5 over there, or 6. And a couple times in Japan, 2 or 3. But the thing is, he didn't go to Australia when I was with him. He had the opportunity to, but he did not go there until later, until I was out of the group. And he didn't tour like some big rock groups. You know, like when I met Van Halen on the road once in the early 80s, they were in Minneapolis. I went to see them and went backstage and met with them. And Eddie said to me, he said, "Well, I can't wait to go home tomorrow." "Oh, why? What's going on?" He goes, "We've been out here for like almost a year."
Wow.
With hardly any breaks. The longest Prince ever did a tour was 6 months. And I could always fly home for a day or two, kind of break it up a hair,
Right.
in between. And he would do that too. But, you know, so some of those groups toured really hard and long, and Prince did not, because he didn't want to. He wanted to move on and do the next record. That was his thing, you know. I mean, when we were out doing the Purple Rain tour, he already had Around the World in a Day in the can, ready to go. And he's like itching, you know, chomping at the bit to put it out.
Right.
So,
I gotta ask, I had an opportunity to see you guys collectively perform in the karaoke in Syracuse.
Oh, were you at the Syracuse
Yes.
show when we recorded that show?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I can honestly say, I'm not ashamed to share my age. I'll be 58 in a couple of months.
Wow.
And to this day, that concert has left such an imprint on my life that I can't even begin to describe. I've never seen or experienced anything like that before in my life. And I've been to countless concerts. And I wanted to ask you, for someone who was there and who performed in front of all these people, What was it like for you?
It was surreal. The whole experience was surreal, and I'm so much older now. I look back on it, you know, and I see the video now, and it's like, I go, who is that guy? I was just a kid. I was just a kid. I was 26, I think. Yeah. 26 years old during that tour, and I just looked like a baby to myself. Like, whoa. But anyway, regardless of that, it was fun. All I can say is it's like this was like what I wanted to be doing. Anyway, you know, that's all I can say. I really enjoyed it, supporting Prince too and being his side man.
Between that and also the Sign of the Time movie,
yeah,
was great. That was good. That was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was great.
Yeah, another fun thing, you know, yeah, we did a lot of really enjoyable projects, and you know, I just it was a great time working with him, really was.
Between COVID,
yeah,
and gaining a better appreciation for life and being around family. How has this touched you? Because I know it's affected so many of us going through this.
Well, I feel like there were a lot of mistakes made before the pandemic, as it got underway, that people were not being diligent enough about figuring it out if it was airborne, whether you needed masks. And once they knew we needed masks, they should have done a major project to get N95 masks out to everybody as fast as possible. Manufacturing like a war effort, which they got to, but it didn't go fast enough. And then the message was so mixed from the two fighting political parties that it was terrible, in my opinion. It didn't have to be that way. And I had friends who died because of it. People who are either in fear of the vaccine or refuse to get the vaccine because of their political beliefs.
Right.
Friends. These are friends, close friends, colleagues, people I worked with. And it was just tragic. And I sat back and watched it, and I just was, you know, it hurt. It really did.
I remember you mentioned
a lot of people.
Something like that before about that from both sides can have such a detrimental influence on how people think and how they view things. And just stays as far as the vaccine, people taking the vaccine, some not taking it, not taking the necessary measures to protect yourself, and people unfortunately losing their lives because your people playing a political game and not really caring about the people. And I use that as a segue when I go back to the title track of Sign of the Times and listening to the lyrics of that song.
He was prophetic, Prince, in a lot of ways. He was ahead of his time, too, stylistically speaking. He was breaking new ground all the time. It was the way he wrote his music. So, anyway, all I can say is, you know, thank goodness that the pandemic seems to be waning a bit now, quite a bit, right? We're still losing people, though, because a lot of people still are not vaccinated and refuse to get vaccinated, and they're getting sick and passing away if they have, you know, poor health. Granted, you know what? I got it. I had it in October of last year. My wife and I finally got it, even though we'd had the first 4 Moderna shots. We had the first 4, and then we had the 5th booster in September of last year. And then we were both in Los Angeles. I was there on business and doing a gig, right? Playing a show with somebody, which I'll explain in a moment. And when we got home, we got sick. So we were exposed in LA, I'm certain of it, because of the incubation time and the beginning. Probably at the show because it was in a crowded venue, a small club, you know, a jazz club. So I don't know what to tell you. You know, and we survived it. It wasn't fun. It was like having the flu for me. I just turned 65. Thank God I got through it and was vaccinated, but I still had a breakthrough. Both of us still had a breakthrough infection from it and had fevers. But with that said, I don't feel like I have the so-called long COVID symptoms, and neither does my wife. Knock on wood, thank God. And I feel for all the poor people that have gotten that. And I mean, this is such a weird virus, and they should, you know, I know they're trying to study it better now and find treatments for long COVID. So it's very concerning. And as you see, my name is Dr. Fink. Yeah. I'm not officially like a guy that went to school to become a real doctor, but granted, it's a stage name. I do keep up on my science, and I do have quite a bit of knowledge about these things. I keep up. I read everything.
Knowledge.
Yes.
Especially
these days, especially dealing with the pandemic, it was very important to stay informed as best you could and try to get the truth. The truth. And that's been the problem. How do you get the truth out to everyone and get them to believe what is the truth and get the truth away from the disinformation and the lies?
Right.
How do we get to that point again in our society? That's what what we need to figure out. We need to figure that out.
That's a very slippery slope. Because as you just said, when you have people being pitted against one another, the true information is being hidden and not being allowed to be shared, where people have a clear understanding of what needs to be done.
Yeah, and the truth has to be proven a certain way. There has to be, you know, evidence and consensus. Where are your facts? Where are you getting that, sir? Where are you getting that information from? Where's the facts to back that up? Where's it coming from? Who told you this? Why? Where? How?
But you know, just as well as I do, if you do have someone that comes along and provides all the pertinent information and facts that you need to prove, you're going to always have a sector of people that are going to say it's not true to justify their own beliefs.
Well, like I said, a lot of people died unnecessarily because of
And I'm dating myself because the last time I had an opportunity to interview you, I remember you used to sit up and talk about that it was a travesty how in Canada everyone is afforded health care. And here, most of the people, I can't even really get the percentage, but a lot of people here in the United States can't even afford health care.
Tell me about it. I know all about this. I've studied it for years. Believe me.
Man. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So when can you expect some music from you?
Oh, let's get back to the music. I went political. I'm sorry. Sorry, I went political.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting out playing live soon. Have been a little bit, you know, last year and this year. Just local stuff mainly, not much out of town until recently. and that's been with Paul Peterson.
Okay.
The old group, The Family, that Prince did back in the day, that produced with, you know, Wendy Melvoin. You know who they are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got this group he's had going, I don't know, probably since 2016, 17, right in there, called St. Paul and the Minneapolis Funk All-Stars. Have you heard of them?
Yes, I have. I've been interviewed Paul 3 times, and he talks about it all the time.
Oh, but you haven't seen it live yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right, so we're going to be out playing some gigs soon in April and May.
Okay.
A few in the summer and some at the end of August so far that are booked. But there may be some more being added soon, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so,
cool.
Besides some there's possible Revolution things I don't know yet. I'm not going to, you know, because, you know, the anniversary of Purple Rain is coming up, 40th anniversary next year. So most likely next year. Right now, other people in the group are tied up with very amazing work they're doing. Wendy and Lisa out in LA for soundtrack work for a couple TV shows. They're just inundated. They're swamped. Yeah. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna play it. We've already kind of discussed this, but we just don't know when.
Right.
So I'm not making an official announcement, anybody.
Okay.
I can't. There's no date set. Okay.
I promise you, family, once the teddy bear knows, I will definitely let everyone else know. I've always envisioned.
You got to remember, Medicare just kicked in this year for me.
Lord have mercy. I've always thought that you and
what's that?
Eric Leeds would get together and put together some kind of jazz fusion CD.
Well, you know, Paul Peterson's done a lot with Eric over the years now, you know, and I've had Eric come in and play on a few things back, you know, 2004 through 6 in that era with another artist I was working with over in Belgium. And my friend from Belgium came here, and then Eric came to my place and did sax work on his stuff that I was co-writing. And then I went over to Belgium and did some things over there with him. That's Chris Vanderheyden, if anybody's interested. And it's fun stuff. It's like electronica, fun Euro dancey music with jazz stuff by Eric Leeds. Great stuff. He's an amazing artist and great sax player.
I'm spoiled because I have Madhouse 8 on vinyl.
Yes.
So I'm really spoiled.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm really spoiled. And I want to send out some love to Eric Leeds and also Atlanta Bliss. Lord have mercy.
Love those guys. I saw Atlanta before the pandemic. I got to see him. Hadn't seen him in years, and we were together for some the reunion time in 2016 when Prince passed. And so anyway, I just I've been working with a couple artists over the last several years to, you know, producing. There's a young female artist here in Minneapolis by the name of Michelle Rose, who I've been working with quite a bit since about 2017.
Okay.
So if you want to check her out, she's on YouTube under Michelle Rose Music.
Okay. Absolutely.
And then there's my son Max, who I've been plugging quite a bit lately. And he's out in Los Angeles being a producer these days.
Well, that's
he's been out there almost 7 years now.
Okay.
In the industry, as a writer, producer out there. What's that?
I said that's where all is, being a producer.
Have you ever heard of my son's stage name?
No.
He goes by the moniker of Max Millie.
Really?
His name is Maxwell. Maxwell Harrison Fink.
Okay.
And yes, that middle name is like a cross between someone in my family, Harrison, and then George Harrison. It was like combined. Just like my other son's name is Gabriel Lindsay Fink, and Lindsay stands for Lindsay Buckingham.
Wow. So
one of my favorite guitar players of all time.
So he has the first name of an archangel, Gabriel.
What's that?
Your son has the first name Gabriel, an archangel.
That's correct.
And then you have Lindsay Buckingham, who is an electrified guitarist and also an incredible songwriter.
And so Max Millie is spelled M and then the letter V for the A instead of the A, and then MVX for Max, MVX, and then MILLI, Max Millie. It's kind of like, it's kind of a hip hoppy in that vein of you know, Post Malone style of, you know, current pop hop. I call it pop hop. Because it's hip hop and pop, and then sometimes it steers out of the hip hop beats, it goes to pop, and then it comes back, and there's singing, and then there's some rap, and then there's like singing that sounds like rap, and the rhythms. You know what I'm talking about? It's that new music that's out, which I like. I do. You know, I mean, I grew up in the '60s. I'm a child of the '60s and '70s. I was listening to all that stuff, right?
Right.
That was my influence. You know. And all the progressive players and progressive rock and all those guys, you know, and progressive jazz guys. So, but I really appreciate all this new stuff coming out because it's really interesting. It's innovative, in my opinion.
I think for me is that I have a lot more respect for an artist if they can show a sense of vulnerability and just being true to who they are as an artist, and not being so caught up in the bells and whistles. Because I've seen so many artists that get in the studio and they put together a wonderful project, but get out on stage and they sound completely different. And
that's the thing. Back in the day, what you got with us was you got us. It was just six people playing everything live. There was no tracks. No help other than we did have a drum machine innovating at that time, though, with live drums and electronic drums being played along with real cymbals. Bobby Z was like this automaton, you know.
I know.
He did this. He was one of the most innovative drummers of all time and broke new ground with all that, you know, doing the whole Linn drum machine combined with other percussion, electronic, and going crazy, you know. So
that's what I'm saying. When
we were innovators, yes, we were innovators.
We were. I mean, the wild thing about it is that everything that you guys did collectively in the studio, when you went on stage, you took it to a whole nother level. It was a completely different level. And I don't see a lot of artists today that do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some that are, well, you know, there's this one group that I just saw Saturday night who I've been a fan of for a while now, and they performed on Saturday Night Live. They're called the 1975. To me, they were like a throwback to live bands. Everybody's playing something, and there's no electronic stuff happening much. It's acoustic piano, all guitars. There wasn't really any synthesizer in there. And in the past, they've had electronica in their music. Their latest stuff, they've gone back old school and written great hooks and melodies and lyrics. Great rhythm. I mean, I just thought it was wonderful. I thought they were really great songwriting, and they went to a different place too with their style, which I really thought was cool. So that's what I mean by this. You know, there's so much diversity. They're not the only ones I appreciate. I like Snarky Puppy just because they're insane fusion maniacs, you know, and yeah, like that. My friend Corey Wong, the guitar player from Minneapolis, and his fusion group, unbelievable. What an amazing group of people. Have you seen them?
Yes, I have.
YouTube. Oh my
God.
I have. Amazing.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
it makes me feel good. Like I said, when people really take the art form seriously, and they really go out of their way to perfect the craft. What keyboard were you using back in the 80s? Because I know during that time period, a lot of music, a large majority of music was heavy on synth. The synthesizer. What synthesizer were you using back in the 80s?
Well, you know, we were, every year that I was in the band, I would bring in something new every year. I'd bring a different machine or the next version of the last time the machine, you know, we'd have a machine and there'd be an upgrade. And the next year there'd be another version of it, or 2 years would go by and then there'd be the upgrade or a new version of it that's coming out. And then another company would come out with a whole innovative new thing that changed the whole vibe of sound.
Right.
It was crazy. It's, yeah, you know, I mean, the progression of the electronic stuff happening from the late 70s, the synthesizers and all that keyboard stuff, polyphonic synthesizers, because in the late 60s, the only thing you could use was a mini Moog or a big Moog modular, one voice, that was it. And then you'd have to be in the studio layering it to create harmonies or something. Right. You play one note at a time on those old machines. They were called monophonic synths, and then they came up with the polyphonics. And right when I joined Prince in late 78, the first polyphonic synthesizers had just come out right around that time. The Polymoog, the Oberheim, the 4 and 8 voice, which is what Prince had. He had a Polymoog, he had both of those. And that was pretty much it at that time. There were just those two that were polyphonic.
Right. What I'm seeing now is on a whole other level. I remember seeing Morris Hayes, and he was playing keyboard, and I mean the sounds that he was able to come out of his keyboard just really blew me away.
Yeah, when was that? When was he doing that?
This was, oh God, maybe about seven years ago.
Oh, okay. Before Prince? Before Prince working with Prince at that time, yeah? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's progressed to such an amazing level right now. You know, it's just have huge sounds now. When you go to like electronic dance music festivals, you ever been to one of those? Okay,
Yes.
Sure you have. I mean, think of those machines that those DJs are using these days. How just massive those synthesizers sound live. They're just in your face. So your whole body is like vibrating. It's insane. It's crazy. Look at my eyes right now. They're like,
Well, you clearly understand the technical aspect of this. What kind of software? What kind of software are they using?
Well,
to get those sounds.
The great synthesizer players right now, DJs that are out there, and non-DJs, don't get me wrong, they're using, in the analog realm, they're using what are called modular synthesizers. So just picture modules in a big rack going across like this with all these different things, patch cables, you know, all the controls for each thing, and you can... Don't get me started. It'll take me too long. Anyway, but back in the day, you know, you think of Moog modulars from back in the old days. Now they're polyphonic and they're massive. They giant, you know, they can fill up a wall. And there's just all this big oscillators and stuff going on there, and they just are huge sounding. And then there's software that's amazing, just right in the computer.
Right.
There's hardware and software both. Still.
Wow.
And the DJs use both. But they really, most of the really top DJs I know are using a lot more hardware than they are using software.
Oh, okay.
Usually.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The big fat, because they're electronic and they're, you know, it's not like software. There's like electric stuff going through circuits, and it's just fatter sounding, really bigger. I'm trying to put it in layman's terms as best I can. Okay.
Lord have mercy. Well, what do I have to do to get you and Paul and the rest of the fellas to come out here and perform in Houston. We have so many venues out here, and we would love to have you perform.
Either the Revolution or Paul Peterson and the gang.
Yeah.
Which are all Prince alumni people, by the way.
I know.
In that group. So, hey, hit me up. Give me a call. We've been booking stuff ourselves, primarily Paul, but I've been trying to book a few things too. But we're looking at a booking agent now as well that's interested in working with us. So, everybody's coming out of hibernation from the whole thing. It's kind of, everybody's a little skittish right now. The promoters are skittish. People are like, but if you're Stevie Nicks and Billy Joel, you're out doing stadiums right now.
Yeah.
So they're doing that, but not everybody can do that right now.
Yeah, that's true. Is there any particular website if somebody wanted to reach out and do some bookings, get you on? Where would they need to go?
Well, go to St. Paul and the Minneapolis Funk All-Stars website.
Okay.
Just like that, and there's contact info there for Paul and everything. You can contact him directly.
Okay.
Anybody can.
All right.
If you're interested in booking the group. If you're interested in booking the group. What's that?
I said we definitely need to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree. The more the merrier. I like getting out on the road again. I don't have any obligations here that much, And my wife goes with me everywhere when we go on the road and stuff. Yeah.
One thing I didn't get a chance to ask you the first time I had you on the show. Which album did you enjoy most between Dirty Mind and Controversy?
Boy, that's a tough question. See, I get asked these questions all the time, like what's my favorite or which one do I like better? I have a hard time because I'm so close to it, because it's like it's indelibly marked in my psyche and soul. It's just in there, every song,
right.
So I can't choose. I can't play favorites. It's too difficult. There's too much good work in there that he did that was appealing to myself and many others. So that's the problem. Now, granted, there were some songs that was just like, oh, I don't get it.
Right.
It's not moving me that way. I didn't like that one on the album. But I can't love everything. I try. There's a few along the way, but other people love it. That's the thing. Right. It's like it's subjective. What are you going to do? Here's the thing I'll say is that he, like, from Dirty Mind, from every album to everything, he kept moving forward to another level of something,
right?
Or proficiency. His message kept evolving, and his technical prowess on his instrumentation kept evolving. That's the thing. It just kept going on a curve up like this.
Yeah.
And so they each had their thing. I'd say Controversy was technically better than Dirty Mind, because Dirty Mind was written and done on a 16-track 2-inch machine, which is great because it's wide tape. It's not 2-inch 24, but he did it on there. But it's still, a lot of people commented and said it was kind of simple production. There was, it sounded more like a demo than an album done in a big studio in LA or something, because it was done in his house with this.
It was raw.
It was really raw.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I like the quality of it. I appreciate it. And then he went, as he kept going, he just kept, the sound kept getting better, production, whatever. But the songwriting always remained the same. Every album, each song was great, almost every song. Like I said, there was only maybe one on every record where I went, I don't really mind it. I don't like playing it so much, but I'll play it because it's my time.
Hey, I must admit, when you guys made Around the World in a Day, I said, wait a minute. I said, is Prince trying to make his own Sgt. Pepper album? Because it gave that whole kind of vibe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Prince definitely was doing that on purpose because, you know, and the Wendy and Lisa influence came in big on that record. Huge influence from those gals.
Okay. Well, first of all, again, I want to thank you for bringing so much love and happiness to me and so many fans across the world. And remember, family, to have an opportunity to see Dr. Fink play live, of course, with Paul Peterson and the rest. I'm going to give you all the pertinent information. You go over to Paul's official website and also on Instagram. Make sure you book them so you can get an earful of the Minneapolis sound.
Oh, and before I forget, there's one more thing I want to tell people to go check out.
Okay.
I want you to look at this website, futureyouthrecords.org. Check it out. I've been working as a mentor in this organization since 2013, working with kids, young adults, all that stuff from all over the place, all over the world. Check it out. There's some great songs on their website, and it's a nonprofit, and it's all about social consciousness and positive messages for the world.
Okay, and once again, that was what?
futureyouthrecords.org.
Okay. Fantastic.
Records.org. And my son Max has actually come into the fold with me in 2019. I've been working with them since 2013. And my son Max has been producing material for them now for the last few years and doing excellent work for them.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, and then the other nonprofit I work with here, that place is based on the West Coast. There's a new one starting in Minneapolis, kind of modeled after this organization called Unlocked Mission, and they have a website called unlockedmission.org or .com. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Fairly new. I should know that. They're going to kill me if they see it. Hold on. There it is. Yeah, it's .org. I just went. It's right on my phone at the moment. It happened to be up because I was looking at it earlier today. Right. I'm on the board of directors of this organization.
Okay.
And it's wonderful. This is cool too. And they're working with kids and teaching. There's teachers in this place working with kids in high schools and elementary schools and everything else. People that are having, you know, a rough time having music programs in their schools. Music education is suffering throughout the United States.
Yeah. Especially in the cities.
That's correct.
Especially in the cities.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate. But we're going to do something about that collective to make that change.
That's correct. I work with both of these nonprofits. I lend a hand to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to thank you so much for blessing us this evening. Whatever you need, please do not hesitate to let me know.
Well, thank you, Teddy Bear. Stay in touch.
Absolutely.
And America, we salute you.
We salute you. The one and only Dr. Prince and Evolution. Thank you so much, brother. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless everyone. And have a pleasant evening.
You do the same. The legendary Dr. Fink of Prince and the Revolution here on Night Traxx Radio. I want to thank him so much for joining us. And also I want to thank everyone for tuning in and allowing me to tune out all the negativity and bringing some positive energy. Oh, before I leave, oh my goodness, I got to do this. A good friend of mine by the name of Michelle Young. She lives in Norwalk, Ohio. Yeah, Norwalk, Ohio. And she is an Avon representative. She has a wonderful website where you can buy body lotion, shower gel, moisturizer, deodorant, cologne to help you smell good. You always have to smell good for the ladies. And we have a ton of a lot of wonderful products. Stop by her official website. That's at www.avon.com/rep store/M Young. That's Money Young, M Young. That's Michelle young. Be sure to stop by her website, purchase some wonderful products. And to all, for those who have tuned in, I want to thank everyone on behalf of Teddy Bear and Night Traxx Radio. Keep it soulful here in the zone of Night Traxx Radio. Good night and God bless.